Hello, welcome to this new podcast by the International Organization for Migration, IOM United Kingdom. My name is Kobusinge. I'm an IOM Youth Changemaker, and I'm your host. In today's episode, we are celebrating the Refugee Week, and this is a special episode that showcases and celebrates the different contributions of people with different migration journeys, migrants, refugees, who have moved for different reasons from different countries. And in this episode, we are hosting a brilliant and amazing digital artist, Hossam Fazulla, who is the lead designer for the Refugee Week poster of this year, 2025. And that poster showcases a theme for this Refugee Week, which is community as a superpower. Hossam, you're very welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
It's a very pleasure to have you today. I've seen your work. You're a digital creator, you're a digital artist, and you're doing really amazing work. And some of it I look forward to sharing it with our audience today. And and before we actually go further, I am not an artist, right? But I do appreciate art. I know art can speak words that we cannot express by speaking. Even someone who can't speak can understand your message. I was wondering, what is your migration journey? Because you're here in the UK, and I know, having seen your work, I know you have a story. What is your migration journey?
So I am from Egypt, and I grew up in Cairo, specifically in Old Cairo, which it's a big part of my identity. Old Cairo is quite different than anywhere else. It's a place where kind of time really does not pass there. It's just, you won't, if you're in Old Cairo, you wouldn't necessarily think that you're in 2025, or basically it looked the same always, and people are the same. But it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I grew up in Old Cairo. And obviously I moved around in Cairo a lot, but this is where my heart is, Old Cairo. And then when I was 26, so I lived in Egypt till I was 26. I came here to do my master's in media. I got a scholarship. So I got something called a Civil Society Leadership Awards. And it was because I made this video that went viral, and they opened the scholarship for me in media studies, which I always dreamt of studying media, but I never actually studied it.
Right.
But they opened it for me after I got the scholarship, and I came here to study at SOAS University. I studied media, and then while I was at SOAS, then I worked at BBC, and then from there on did many things, and then that's when kind of art came back to me.
Right. And
the reason why I say art came back to me is because when I came here, I had a very difficult experience in terms of my visa, my papers, and I had a lot of complications with my papers that actually led to me not being able to go home for over 4 years, which was a very difficult period. And during which I was kind of like what every fast generation does, which is just work, which is what I was doing. When that was resolved, then I was finally able to see my family again, and suddenly I just came back to being creative again, and I guess there's so many things that can be told about my journey, but maybe that's it in sort of brief way.
No, it's really, really interesting. I mean, you've talked about Cairo. I haven't been to Cairo, so I've only been to Sharm el-Sheikh, and maybe I should visit Cairo because I want to see that aspect you just talked about.
It's crazy. Cairo is a crazy place. It's massive. It's very, very busy, and it's just full of life and variety as well. Yeah.
Right. So you talked about, there's a time when you were doing a lot of work, trying to make ends meet in a new country. And then kind of like it separated you from the artists, but then it came back to you.
Yeah.
So did anything change in your art shaped by your migration experiences?
Yeah, of course. So basically, I think, unfortunately, like art is a precious thing, and in order to be creative, you have to have a lot of things settled before you become creative. And I think if you are not feeling safe, if you're not feeling welcomed, if you're not, if you have family issues, if you have many other things, it's so hard to be creative. And so that I think that's why I think I stopped doing creative stuff, and then it came back to me right after things were sorted out.
Right.
I think everything I do will just comes from the fact that I am who I am, and I am a result of, I don't know, I guess, the modern life and migration.
Right.
I speak English as much as good as I speak Arabic. I think in English, and I dream in English, and it's not even my first language, but it almost is now. Like sometimes if I speak English a lot and then I go to Egypt and I speak Arabic a lot, sometimes I find it like my brain is something a bit going on there. And I think I myself am a result of this journey that many people have gone through. So my art is definitely there, and not just my art, but also my digital creation, my videos, my films, anything that I make. But when in terms of my illustrations, I always love to. I'm kind of haunted by old Cairo and where I grew up, but also just kind of a lot of Western aesthetics that like came through video games and computer graphics, and I just always want to portray me and my life and my upbringing into this sort of Western aesthetics. Right. So that's a big inspiration for me, I think.
And does then art give you a bit of comfort, a bit of homeliness, even when you're away from home?
For me, art is a meditative process. It's almost like a virtual home for me. It's like this place that I enter and I stay in, and I'm comfortable in, and that's why I can only do it when I am in the right state of mind, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really interesting because right now, even sometimes it's hard to differentiate like home, because you've been in the UK for some time, it's home. And then there's Egypt, which is home. Yeah. So how do you negotiate this? For
me, London is my home, for sure. And also Cairo is my home. I have family here in London. I have family in Cairo as well. I really feel like London is a home for me. I love the diversity of London and the streets. I love the night. I love my people here. I love the rhythm. I love the city. I love the soundscape. I love the visual. I love everything.
Right.
I feel comfortable here. And it's weird because I loved London since I came here. It's like some sort part of me kind of belonged here the day I came here. Not in any way that takes from where I'm from or my identity.
I relate. I can understand, feeling like what you call home is not accepting you as home, with the new narratives around. And it can't be something I personally relate, but that's a story for another day. So speaking about your art and your work and how it brings in the narratives and the power of people that have had different migration journeys. And we have the Refugee Week that is happening now. And you created a poster, which I really, really like. And I think it's really inspiring. And it's tagged as community as superpower. What does that mean?
It actually took me a while to feel it and understand it and to be able to make that artwork. So the theme this year of Refugee Week is community as a superpower, and I think the meaning here that was intended is sort of like to stand against all these narratives that are increasing and going on, that are anti-migration. I think the idea was to celebrate that, it's not, to be a bit hopeful. Community is powerful, and to remind everyone that it's not as bleak as it sometimes appears to be in the news. There's still hope, and as long as we are together, and as long as we have this sense of community, and community here means acceptance, it means kindness, it means diversity in all its shapes, it means openness, and as long as we have that, that's a superpower.
Someone might wonder, you are a migrant, but how come you're involved in Refugee Week and refugee work?
So Refugee Week is run by an organization called Counterpoints Arts. And Counterpoints Arts is an amazing organization that does many projects that, again, also all about art from and for migrants and people from migrant backgrounds, celebrates diversity. It does work around climate, mental health, and also like putting migration stories into popular culture as well. So looking at migration as a normal thing and a positive thing, and a thing that we should celebrate, which I completely stand for. So I was lucky to be introduced to Counterpoints early days when I came to the UK, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I want to work there. And I was commissioned as an artist multiple times by them, which was great. So I made some artworks and videos for them. I made like a visual album with this artist called Zia Ahmed.
Nice.
And then much later, so I went and I worked for BBC. And then I kind of got bored of BBC. I don't know if I should say that.
BBC, don't hear that.
And then I left, and I wanted, when I was telling you that I had this kind of art came back to me. And when art came back to me, I wanted to only work in the arts. And that's when I got back in touch with Counterpoints Arts. And then I was offered to do the Refugee Week artwork, and I said no. And then I was offered again the next year, and I said no. And then that's the third year I was offered to do the artwork, and I said no again, and then I finally
you finally accepted,
said yes, and then I made it. And the reason why I was saying no, it was just because I was overwhelmed by the responsibility of making an artwork that is going to be used by, I don't know, thousands of people from all over the world, which is what happens. When you create the artwork, it's not just a poster. It's about all the visual elements being also separate and reconstructed. So it's designed in a way that people could make their own versions and their own posters with the same visual identity.
Right.
So,
I have a big poster here. And
I don't have that big poster.
I have one, so I'm very privileged to have it. I
don't know where you got it from.
I'm very privileged to have it. And I was looking at it yesterday for a long time, and I'm seeing diversity, like diverse people, different age groups. I'm seeing a superwoman. I'm seeing a heart, and I was wondering, what was going on in your head when you came up with this concept? Because community as a superpower could be interpreted in so many different ways. What was it that was going on in your head or in your heart?
So I wanted to, obviously the word community is strong, and then the word superpower is also strong. So I kept on thinking, how do I go around that? I knew the style that I'm using, which is this 2D comic style that I wanted it to look like a comic book. And that's what I went with in the end. But I didn't know where to start and where to begin. I wanted to kind of portray that feeling of people just becoming one, and that's what I was trying to do here. So you see these shadows, and you see that there's a bit of a movement within the assembly, where they kind of all go become that one superpowered individual here. And then if you look behind, there's like several elements happening in the background. So on just underneath here, there is this sort of playground where people are playing, but also cultivating and building and going on about their days, playing with their animals, playing football, and planting, and that is just, for me, that was just about cultivation, one aspect of community that is very important.
Right.
And then in the middle, you see all these windows, and this is like community, kind of sort of closer proximity, community indoors. It's people working together. It's people having dinner together, having tea together, watching TV, reading, just chilling, gym, yoga, and then you see above, there's these skies, but within these skies, there's phone lines and cables. And for me, that was just a nod as well to, community beyond borders and our communities back home and in many other countries, which to me, like most of my community is not necessarily around me.
Right.
All my family are in Egypt. So I wanted to do some sort of a tribute or nod to technology in a positive way, because technology does also connect us. And without technology, we would have been struggling so much as well.
Right. I think that's really, really interesting. And when you spoke about, it's an interconnection of so many things. I come from an environmental background, and I was thinking about an ecosystem, like how you have an ecosystem of, let's say, forest. You have the birds, you have the reptiles, you have the insects and the trees and the soil, everything working together. Yeah. That's how I was looking at this too. Like, it's a community of different people doing different things. But I think what that really touched my heart is that aspect of the open sky. So a community doesn't mean that I'm a Ugandan and my community should be a Ugandan, but it's larger than that. It's human nature. And thank you so much for sharing this with us. And you know what? So we've talked about this art piece, but I also wanted to understand, is there any art piece that you can give us as an example that you created that shared a lot of people that have had migration journeys, refugees, and other people that have moved in one way or the other, that they can relate with, or maybe actually they may not relate like you do, but it shared your story a little bit more, that if someone saw it and they would feel more connected to your story or to your work.
Yeah, so in October 2024, I had a piece of work. It's called Legal Alien. And it was
legal
alien.
Okay.
Alien, and it's a word. It's actually, the word legal alien is. I think it's a word in the law that refers to foreigners.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I don't like it.
The word alien is too much. It's too strong, I think. The project was. Is one massive screen and 25 smaller screens that were put in installation in Old Street called Digital Canvas, right. With the help of Hackney Council as well. But the main image is a self-portrait of me in a space station looking at Earth from far away, and the reason why I made this artwork is because when I had a difficulty in my papers here that led to me not being able to go home for a long time, I was watching this film that I don't even remember what it's called, but it was in that film. It was quite a bad film, actually. But It was very boring.
I'm glad we didn't mention the name.
Yeah, it's just a very boring film. But something is good about watching boring films, because then you get creative, because your mind tries to stimulate itself, because what's happening is not stimulating it.
Right.
So I had this idea, because in the film there was this woman that was in some sort of indefinite space mission. So she's like outside going to space, I don't know, to fight aliens or something like that. It's a ridiculous film. And she does not know when she's coming back. But she's speaking to her family over a screen every day. And that's when I realized, oh my God, I just had this feeling of like, oh, this is so familiar. That's just me. I do feel like I am on an indefinite space mission in this, or I felt then. I was working with Counterpoints actually, and then I had a commission, and I was thinking, what if I created a VR experience that you can go into and kind of portray that resemblance between the life of somebody that is that cannot go home, that is in exile. So I created that VR experience, which I eventually lost. I could not access it. I lost the authentication key. But then I lost the authentication key, and I also, my situation here in the UK was resolved finally. So I had my visa eventually.
Oh, wow.
So I could go home. And there was something a bit poetic about that. I lost this virtual room, which looked like my own room back home. And it was pictures of my family with their faces faded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then you look from the window and you see Earth, and it looks very realistic. It's Earth. So you're just on the exosphere. And you could also, so I had a video call thing inside where I could speak to my family from inside that room. Never did it, but just to, I wanted, if it was open for public, which it was never, that people could actually speak to their families from inside that room. Right. Not necessarily people from migrant backgrounds, because they already are in this sort of experience, but other people, so they can kind of understand that feeling, have it in a physical thing. That was my idea.
That's really cool. I was imagining it myself as we were talking about it, like me being in Rome, and I think, as you mentioned, every migrant, every refugee, they have their stories and their struggles. But they have their contributions, right? Yeah. They have, they're contributing to the economy, to the society. They're working, they're paying taxes. And that is something that is not often talked about in the narratives around anti-migration.
Yeah, not at all.
And now, speaking of which, do you have any upcoming projects, any projects in the pipeline that we can look out for that are specifically combining arts and migration, or arts and journeys?
Yeah, so I have a comedy show. It's called Food I Can't Read. And nice. To me, it's a celebration of diversity. It's funny, it's ridiculous. It's also, it's curious. And it's, I think, to me, is the best way to celebrate the diversity of London.
What is it about?
I go to a supermarket from a different nationality, and I pick up an item that I have no idea what it is. I cannot read anything on the label, anything, and then I try it. It's it's funny, but it's just the best way, because it went very viral very quickly, and the audience is very international. It's from all over the world. People really resonate with it and connect with it very easily. And I think it's a very international, again, it's like, it's a celebration of togetherness in a way, to me, at least. Somebody might watch it and be like, this is just a funny thing. It's not, to me. It's that's what I wanted to make. I wanted to make something that is,
nice.
That celebrates.
No, I can see it. I can feel it myself, because when you come to a new place, a new country, and the first thing you struggle with is, especially like here in the UK, it's the weather and the food.
Like, exactly. The weather and the food, and also knowing the places, knowing where to go, and
But that's an exciting project. And Refugee Week 2025, this work is going to be exhibited somewhere, is it?
Yes, this is gonna be in Glastonbury this year. It's gonna be on all the main stages, including the pyramid stage. an animated version of it, and also it's going to be on banners, on massive banners. So I'm going to Glastonbury to see it as well.
Looks like you may have to drag me there, because I've never actually been, but now I'm thinking maybe I should go and see this.
I've also never been. I'm very scared. Not gonna lie, I'm very scared of crowded places.
I know, it's gonna be great. I've seen my friends excited. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
So now there may be an artist, a migrant artist, a refugee artist out there who is looking at the work you're doing and the opportunities you've had. You had at least, counterparts hold your hand. How do you encourage, or what message do you have, or advice, or a tip for a migrant or refugee artist who is here in the UK and is looking for opportunities, or is looking on how he or she can get back into the arts?
Yeah, so I also run an organization called Bosla Arts, which I started with my partner Georgia Beeston. We started 4 years ago, but we were only established as an organization a year ago. And we look at art and social justice and transnational solidarity. So first thing I would say, look us up. We have a lot of events. We do. Our aim is to help artists from all backgrounds. That's what we try to do. So that's one thing. If in terms of tips, I think my most important tip is be easy on yourself. I think it's absolutely fine to have a bit of a break, to sort your situation out, and things will fall in place at a certain point. There's an amazing community out there, especially here in London, and I'm sure there is an amazing community everywhere, if you just find the right people.
Right.
So also, on your own time, put yourself out there, know people, and nobody can survive alone, basically.
And what about to the people that have welcomed us in this beautiful country, the people that are not threatening us and they're providing that safe space and that community? What would you like to say to them? Because I think when we are celebrating migrants and refugees and journeys, those people should also be part of the story.
Yes, 100%. And you know what? I think that these people are the majority, not even the minority. Absolutely. I think they are the majority. And I think there's a difference between what we are made to believe the majority wants and what actually the majority wants. And I think since I came to the UK, I have only seen welcoming people and people that are very nice and very loving. And on the internet, I am exposed to millions of people online. I've only seen love and appreciation, and I think to those people I say thank you. Just that's how it should be as well. Right. It's a thank you, but also kind of keep doing what you're doing, because that's what everybody should be. So yeah, and I think we all should be welcoming. We all should be kind, because these things just grow and duplicate in that way. And nobody wants people to be unkind to them. So let's just be all kind to each other and welcoming to each other and see each other, really. And
I think you just really point out something really critical that, you see, last week I was looking at ChatGPT and trying to ask it to generate images, generate an image of an expat and an image of a migrant. You'd be surprised at how a migrant is expressed by an AI.
God. Yeah.
And actually, I saw someone, I thought it was only my case. I also saw someone on LinkedIn who had done the same. And also it's the same story. A migrant is, for my case, it was a Black person with hair that is disorganized, that is dirty, and is, and the expat was, a person different from what I described. And But here, when we look at migration journeys, the journeys are different, and we are contributing to this economy, we are contributing to this society, and we also appreciate that migration is not a million things has happened throughout the history of humankind and humanity. And so we've come to the end of this episode. And to our viewers, our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this podcast, this episode celebrating Refugee Week, celebrating the journeys, the different journeys and the contribution of people that have moved from wherever they have moved from and that they have been welcomed in the UK. And today we had Hossam, and please follow his work on social media, follow his work there, and follow this podcast, follow IOM UK to keep updated about the next content, the next episodes. And of course, stay tuned, and together we are a community and we have superpower.